Ladies and gentlemen, this is your Smackdown recap show. I am the OG Fig Kid, Thomas Montalto. Joining me today, go ahead, Anthony.
And it is time to turn your attention to Anthony of the Titantron Podcast at your service.
And also joining us today, you haven't seen him in a while, Mike Belcaster. How you doing, Mike?
Doing fantastic, man. Better than I was 2 hours ago.
I think it's going to be fun tonight because Mike hasn't watched SmackDown in at least 8 months, he said.
Yeah.
So getting his perspective on the show tonight. And so let's start. We kick it off with an awesome promo of all the special fan moments, a lot of special fan moments throughout the years. I thought that little opening was great. That made it, feel good. And then Vince comes out and he just drops the line, "Where the hell you been?" and walks out. And I thought that was great. But and the difference, what I love tonight, they changed it up a little bit. They started with a hell of a match. What'd you think, Anthony?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think it would be wrong not to say, thank God wrestling is finally fucking back. I mean,
Amen.
Sure, pandemic wrestling, it was what it was. We got a lot out of it, cinematic wrestling, whatever else you want to say. But God, hearing those pops of Roman, Vince, Edge, oh my God, it feels so good. I wrote in a group chat, I was like, that first half hour alone was better than anything that I saw during the pandemic wrestling. It was so great. As far as the match, probably the match of the night for me, just the electricity in the building. Exactly. Where the hell have you been? Thankfully, they are back.
What's up, John?
But yeah, just the electricity from the fans that really made, put layers to this match. And, they got all their heavy hitters in there. What better match to start off the crowd with? And, it was just a fun time overall. And all the stuff that happened after the match was even better.
Yeah, and I feel like, I don't know if they actually watched AEW, but they learned from AEW by starting off with a banger of a match. Just gives the whole show an excitement instead of doing the normal promo. What do you think of the match, Mike?
You know what? It could have easily been SmackDown's main event. Right. And for them to start off a show with something like that, it shows that they wanted to give the fans in attendance and the fans at home a banger. They wanted to start things off with a boom. And unusual for WWE SmackDown, especially in the last 12, 16, 8 months, whatever it is. It's cool. It was a great match. Solid, run through. Edge looked a little out of it by the end of it. I'm not going to lie. Like he's... let me tell you, brother. But yeah, it was great work by everybody involved. And you know what? I'm not being biased of a fan at all. I'm happy that WWE fans finally have their moment. I'm happy to see not just that, but the wrestling universe in general to have, these people back and, in full force and way the hell of kick off a show. Where the hell have you been? God damn it. Like you get Vince in full force and the little things like that just sell things, way better. So happy to see it.
Yeah. J-Bo made an excellent point. I noticed the pop for Roman at first and then it kind of mixed, was 50-50 and then turned into boos. But you could just tell like all the guys were so hyped just to have the fan reaction there. Like even the way the Roman was responding to it, the way they popped for Edge. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Blew the roof off the place. That was an amazing pop. And it had to feel so good for Edge. He came back at last year's Rumble and then the fans were gone. Yeah. So like the beginning of his whole comeback thing was kind of like had to be rough for him. And he puts on some hell of matches, during that time. But it was good to see them back. You could see Dominik was really into the crowd tonight. Ray was into the crowd.
First match in front of fans. Can you believe all the stuff that he's done? Wow.
Give my wife credit. She said it when he came out. This is his first match in front of fans. So like I didn't even realize that. So bravo to my wife, the Mrs. Fig Kid, and but like they put on a hell of a match. You could feel like the crowd was just electric. It was amazing. I enjoyed the match. I thought it was a great way, smart way to start the show, to start this new era. I hope it's something they continue to doing. And then you cut to the back and you go to the segment. Go ahead, Mike. Tell us a little.
What segment are we going?
Edge's little promo in the back.
Man, he was time's no good for anybody, right? Clearly, Edge is, just a little out of it, but also he probably put out a lot more effort than he's used to, especially in the last, 18 months with the pandemic going on. Reactions take a toll on the body. You get out there and you're blowing up because you want to give these fans, for the first time in forever, a hell of a performance. And then he gets back there and he's just, oh man, like he's trying to speak, but like it's not only is Edge not the Edge from 20 years ago in TLC matches, which you would expect him to be way more out of breath after those kind of performances, but yeah, man, I think for what it wasn't terrible, and Edge did a great job. He's definitely out of breath, but let's say the fans took his breath away a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably going 200 miles an hour at that point. You probably don't realize you're out of breath until after.
Yeah.
Like, who knew the R standed for respiratory failure? But no, and then here comes Seth Rollins, Star Spangled Rollins. I don't know where I got that from. Thank you, Mike. I stole it from him in our group chat. But in this dude, and is that guy having fun right now or what with his promos?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Best promos I've heard from him, best character work I've seen from Rollins in a while, ever since his Authority days. His babyface run was, it was what it was, but Seth Rollins as a heel is just, the perfect match for him. And now just, this is like his architect and the Messiah gimmick just on acid at this point. He's just going crazy with it. I love it. And to put him up against Edge for SummerSlam, to quote the great Seth Rollins, all I have to say is, ha, 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 ha. I'm looking
That was pretty good. We got another guy doing impersonations here, right?
Whoa, wait.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, you know what? I can't say anything good for Rollins is at the peak of his game right now, and like compared to any of his other runs as a heel or as a face, I think he's doing some of the best work he's done in his entire career. And I love the cockiness he brings. I love the attitude, the suits. He's got Seth drip going on, man. And Star Spangled Rollins, man. It was great. And I think he really brings a lot to the program for especially WWE content. But I think it's really cool to see him just kind of honing in his skills and enjoying the run he's having right now. I think you could see it as a performer. Like he loves the way he is right now. He's in the moment. He's really, really on top of his game right now.
So let me tell you what I'm getting from Seth Rollins. When I had Damos on the Turnbuckle sessions, he said that guys usually hit their stride and really start to connect with who they are when they have this I don't give an F moment anymore. And to me, it seems like Seth Rollins has hit that moment. Like he's like, you know what? I'm just going to go out. I'm going to do this. And it's friggin' working for him. I don't even know if they're giving him creative freedom because it doesn't seem like with what he's saying is from a script to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's that good at reading the script and acting it out, but it doesn't seem scripted. He's just having fun, it looks like. And I hope that's what it is because that would be good for all of us to see guys get to do that a little more.
Right? Absolutely. So, I think especially working with no crowds, for the last, how many times am I going to say it, but the whole pandemic, right? I feel like you kind of have to be like, I don't really give a fuck what's going on anymore. I'm just going to go out there and do me because you don't have, live feedback. So you don't have, anybody but, the bosses telling you, hey, that was good, that was bad. So he's just really fuck it. I'm going out there and I'm going to do my all and just have a blast with it. And it really, like I said, you can tell when people really enjoys their work. And Seth's really, really in the moment right now and killing it, man.
He really is. You can see a difference in his, as J-Bone says, his delivery when he was babyface seemed scripted, and it did, and this doesn't, and that's what makes it great. So good for Seth. Right now he might be the thing I'm enjoying most on SmackDown. So even more than Roman right now, he's just enjoyable. So then we move on to Sami Zayn coming out, and it was great to see him get that live crowd reaction because with what he's been doing, it's perfect for getting a reaction from the crowd.
Right.
So, I mean, he's cutting good promos lately. Again, I heard him say when he was on Oral Sessions with Renee that he's been given a lot of liberty with what he's coming out and saying and not really, he's writing it and showing it to them and they're going with it and they're telling him it's good. And that's coming across with what he's doing as well. But then, Well, talk about what do you think of Sami in front of the crowd, Anthony?
Oh, I mean, I was just waiting for this day to happen. Ever since they brought him back with this character, they kind of did it when he was, they started off with fans, but now he's just taking it to another level. And this was exactly the promo that I was like hoping I would see from him. And the fans just played it off so well. And he, interacted well with them. He's great on the mic. They just got to let him do this every week, and I will be perfectly happy with Sami Zayn. But it looks like they have a little bit of a direction with him, and we'll get into that in a second. But as far as his promo, brilliant.
Yeah, he's one of the better guys. Did you like his promo, Mike?
Yeah, I love Conspiracy Zane. I think it's way better than the kind of when they first brought him in. Like I don't know if you guys were big El Generico fans in the Indies. It was hard to see him doing this role where he's speaking all the time and just doing what he's doing. Like I feel again like he kind of fits his shoes really well right now, and he's kind of killing it and doing his thing. I loved it. Like the little clips I would see throughout the last couple of months was awesome, and it was like, oh, Sammy's fucking crazy. Love it. And I feel like the fans are only going to drive him to do more and do better. So imagine Sami Zayn on acid. We're watching it right now.
and then we get the little, the surprise with Finn Balor being back. The music hit. I popped a little, like to see him back because SmackDown could certainly use another guy on there. And I thought it was a nice, refreshing thing to see him back right now. And he seems to be bringing NXT Finn Balor back, not Balor Club Balor. And I think that if he's going to come back, that's what he needs to do.
Yeah.
No,
absolutely.
We're gonna blur the too sweet, I
think
think the other guys got that now, and they're just trying to, kayfabe. Yeah. But you know what? I've always been a big fan of Finn Balor. He was just amazing when he first got there. Even in his New Japan days, he was just unbelievably good. What a better pairing than putting up with Sami Zayn, and like they're going to run a hell of a program together,
right?
And I mean, I hope it lasts. That's the one thing I do wish out of it. I hope to see it continue, maybe past SummerSlam. It would be great. But yeah, Sami and Finn are like, peanut butter and jelly. You don't get a better mix than that.
I saw Finn and I was just thinking to myself, well, I wanted it to be a surprise for me, but of course, wrestling Twitter has to spoil every little thing in existence. So it wasn't really a surprise to me, but it was a good little moment. But, I'm seeing Finn come out and I'm seeing just, the 6-man opener and everything with the women that we're getting all these NXT women in, even in the main event. And we'll talk about that, but all those guys are amazing. And honestly, I'm at the point where, sure, I haven't been watching wrestling for that long. I've only been a fan for about 11 years now. I'm willing to say it because I know probably no one else will. Right now, this is, to me, one of the best rosters I have ever seen. I know, you can compare it to the Attitude Era, you compare it to the Golden Era, whatever else you want to compare it to. For me, watching as a fan, the amount of talent and the amount of characters and the even balance between them that I'm seeing on SmackDown right now is just phenomenal. And to say that this isn't the A show, and honestly, the best wrestling show, period, right now, would kind of be blasphemous. Yeah, I'll say it. I was walking out of Wednesday thinking, how is anyone going to top Fyter Fest? How is anyone going to top Road Rager? Come to SmackDown, I gotta say it kind of topped it a little bit. I mean, just everything that they brought to the table. And, people might not agree with me, and that's okay. I keep it real. But, I got to tell you, SmackDown just adding Finn Balor is just another name to bolster this roster, and I'm all for it. I'm looking forward to seeing SmackDown in the future with these names.
And you talk about the roster. If you are an indie fan, SmackDown is the show for you right now because you got Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen.
Absolutely.
You got Finn Balor. You got Nakamura. Nakamura was from Japan, but they all went over there and battled with him over there. Sami Zayn, like you said, El Jericho. And there's just so many guys that are just there now. Let them have the fun that they could do. Mm-hmm. I think AEW the last 2 weeks have just been amazing, and it's going to be hard for anything to top that right now. But I really did enjoy SmackDown tonight. let's move on. What was next? Okay? So next we move on to Nox and Shotzi and the one names again. Like Tegan Nox just sounds so much. I could deal with Shotzi, but Nox, give it back to Tegan Nox. I don't, give them a tag team name. Like Vince, what are you doing, Vince?
I guess it rolls off the tongue, Shotzi and Nox, but really, you can't just call
Tegan Nox Tegan Nox rolls better to me than Nox.
Yeah, no, it does to me too, definitely. I don't know why they need to cut these names down. It's ridiculous.
It's just Vince mannerisms. I'm more worried about the Tank. I think the Tank's going to be fired next because it's more over than the tag team is. Vince just be like, "Get in line, you're fired. That Tank's way too over. Just cut that shit out." And that's I'm not against seeing Vince do it, but it's just like, yeah, man,
something he would do. We've seen him so much. That's something he would do.
Absolutely, but I'm happy to see both of them called up. Mike Knox.
Mike Knox.
Great point, Javon.
It's cool to see these NXT talents getting their time to shine on the main roster and stuff. And time will tell. I hope that they continue to do as big as they are, as big as they were on NXT. We all know how that system kind of goes, and they can get lost in the shuffle. And I hope, for the sake of everything, that these two continue their reign, as it would be, in their programming and just doing good things.
Well, here's what bothered me about the match. Last week you have Nox and Shotzi beat them in a non-title match, and tonight you have a contention match for them in another non-title match. What was last week then? If it wasn't a contention match, if they come out and beat the champions, they have to come out and have another non-title match. That makes no sense. What are you doing?
WWE booking.
Yeah. I think it's also just funny that you need a contention match against the champions because you have no other tag teams to contend against.
When they said it was a contention match, I'm like, oh, who are they fighting?
I know, what other tag teams did they put together? Oh, Nia and Shayna are coming over. That's the only team that I could think of, especially now that they broke up Mandy and Dana. Oh my goodness, what are they doing with these tag team belts? Anyways, let's move on from this.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Now, so the highlight of that match for me is I love Zelina and Liv on the mics, going back and forth, and then I think Liv is on a roll right now. I'm loving her. She's great. I love Zelina on the mic when beginning of the pandemic era, when she was doing commentary and she was managing and she was they were riding her to the bank. They used her all the time. She was the star the first half of the pandemic era on Raw. They used her. That's when Heyman was in charge. He used her so much because he saw what they had in her. And then when he was taken out of control, they stopped using her, and that's when Raw started to get even less entertaining at the time. But I'm enjoying. I love Liv. I would love to see Liv win the Money in the Bank match. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I really thoroughly enjoyed them. What do you think, Mike? Because you haven't seen Liv in a while.
You know what? I'm happy to see her thriving outside of the Riot Squad. I really the Riot Squad was over. They did really good stuff together, and it's got to be hard when two of your best friends get let go from the company, and you're out there you're a dog in the middle of the ocean by yourself, and there's no boat to swim to, and she's really kicking ass right now, and I think exactly. I think she is top contender for the Money in the Bank. I've always been a fan of hers. I think she's great in the ring. I think she's been built very well over her career in WWE. Especially since the first time they showed up as the Riot Squad, I really think she was one of the gems of the group. You got Ruby Riot, you got Sarah Logan, and but I think she literally is the star that outshined the rest of them, and I think they did a good job keeping her. And not saying that the other two deserve to be let go, but I think that she's going to be the one that does the best out of the group. In all, you know what I mean? So I think this might be her time to really, really push up to the top level.
Yeah, I mean, when they brought her back originally, it seemed like she was going to get that singles push back then, but she wound up being back with Ruby Riott, and I'm just happy for her to see. I can't imagine the day that when Ruby Riott got released and she saw the Iconics both get released that day. Oof. She had to be thinking, she had to be nervously holding her phone. So glad that didn't happen to her. And, if you saw her pop up, J-Bone thinks she's one of the top contenders for the Money in the Bank match, too. I wouldn't be surprised to see her win. So, We move on to the women's championship match, which for some reason was removed from Money in the Bank when Bayley was out, and they put it on SmackDown. We got to see Bianca Belair facing Carmella tonight. What do you think of that one, Anthony?
The reason why they probably took it off of Money in the Bank is probably just to, get some more interest on SmackDown, as if they didn't need it already. But, they probably wanted a championship match, and they figured, why not put Bianca in there? As far as the match goes, solid. Carmella's a very reliable worker, and Bianca's one of the best that they have right now. So to put them up against each other, I thought it was a pretty decent match overall. I do like Carmella's new gimmick in that she's playing into it a lot more as the self-proclaimed most beautiful woman in WWE, whatever she's calling herself now. It's great. So, this is probably the best that she's been ever since she's had James Ellsworth, a while ago. I've always been a Carmella fan. So to see her with this new gimmick, it's working for her. And I think it's, going really great. And Bianca, like I said, she's one of the best that they have right now. Just a solid match overall. Nothing to write home about. But I'm looking forward to seeing where Bianca goes from here. Wondering who they're going to put her up against SummerSlam. Probably Sasha, honestly.
Yeah, you'd think Sasha would be returning soon. What do you think, Mike?
No disrespect to the women, but this is what I like to call a smoke break. I watched a little bit of it. I'm not a huge Carmella fan. Bianca Belair is awesome, but this just was not doing anything for me, and especially because I haven't been keeping up with it. I have no investment into the story or into either character, and no shaming on either one of them. Always I loved Carmella when she was with Enzo and Big Cass, and I haven't been following her too much since then. I have an autograph from Carmella upstairs somewhere. It just wasn't something that I was like, yeah, man. But Bianca, I'm good. I'm glad she's getting this push. I'm glad she's the champ right now. I'm glad she's doing big things. She really deserves it, and you could just see, again, she's one of those people that's kind of falling into her natural place in the company and just kind of doing her own thing. And I feel like this is the best thing that happened from the pandemic, is that we're getting these characters that might not have been able to get to this point beforehand. You know what I mean? It would have been more about Charlotte and Bayley and Sasha. And I'm glad to see somebody else rising from whatever the ashes are from all this catastrophe that we've lived through the last year. Right. So good for Bianca Belair. And I wish I would have caught more of it, to be honest with you. But you got to get up and do some shit sometimes.
I felt a little bit of a relief when Bianca got the big pop that she did, because I wasn't sure how she was going to be received, as she hasn't really been on TV in front of fans on the main roster much. So since winning that was this year's Rumble she won. She made that great appearance in the Rumble last year, though, where she lasted a really long time. But I was good because, I went into the stores and her figure was just peg warming forever. So with the Street Profits, which kind of shocked me, because you're watching them on TV thinking they're over, but then you go into the stores and you just see figures sitting there for weeks and months on end. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect out of it. So I was glad to see that she got the pop that she did. Well deserved for her. And it's funny, a couple weeks ago, the SmackDown women's roster was kind of like, 2 weeks later, it's very exciting with the return of Zelina Vega. We know what she could do in the ring. You got Liv Morgan on a roll. You got Knox and Shotzi up there. You got Toni Storm coming. So, the women's roster on SmackDown is well improved too. So I think they've done a great job on restocking it right now. And it's, something to look forward to over the next few months and seeing where it goes and seeing, it sucks that Bayley got hurt because she was a star of the pandemic era too. Definitely. But when somebody gets hurt, it's great to see who's ready to step up and take their spot. It forces them to change. And sometimes that makes for the best when something is unplanned happens. So you just never know. Yeah. So, all right, what's next? My notes disappeared on me. Okay, here we go. Okay, all right. Now here's where the air just got sucked out of me. We moved over to Otis and Cesaro, and number one, seeing Cesaro, I said, it was like a mid-tier, mid-card thing. And as Mike said in the chat, Mike, what'd you say?
I said it's like a mid-card match.
Yeah, like low mid-card match, and I'm like,
it's
that
heartbreaking,
just
man.
sucked. Yeah, it
Yeah,
does
well,
for
we've seen
Cesaro.
Otis do great, throughout especially during the ladder match, the Money in the Bank match when he won it. He was a very entertaining character back then. Fantastic. I don't know what he's with Chad Gable for right now, so I'm very confused on that. But like, God, we've seen Cesaro tear the house down how many times over the last 5-6 years, And then like this was just like I could have done with it. This should have been the piss break as opposed to the last match. And like, me being somebody who hasn't watched in a long time, I was thinking completely opposite. Because I was like, oh, Otis is cool. Cesaro's a badass. Like, let's see some shit happen. And then like the Chad Gable breaking up the spin, and it was just, or Otis broke up the spin on Chad Gable. It was I don't know. It was weird coming from somebody with no context. I was just like, this was just a time killer. I hope the people got their popcorn in time to get to the next segment, the next match, and before the commercial break sets in.
For a segment that wasn't that long, they could have given that extra time to the main event.
Or the first match, even.
The first match, I was actually happy.
Or just anything else.
Or just anything. Okay, so we see what Anthony thinks. Anthony, go ahead.
Man, I don't know who to feel bad for. Feel bad for Otis. Feel bad for Chad Gable. Feel bad for Cesaro. Feel bad for the fans. I think I'm going to feel bad for all of them. It was just like, why? I figured like the whole spot was going to be that Cesaro was going to swing Otis because they were hyping it up. Like, is he going to swing the 300-pound Otis? And that's usually, a moment that they would like to see, unless they're building up to it. It didn't really seem like they were, but then I see him swing Chad Gable. I'm like, well, this isn't impressive. I've seen him swing the Great Khali. Like, what is this? Yeah, this was definitely I forgot that I was about to move on to the main event or whatever was next. And then I forget that we had bald Otis to talk about. It was just a bad segment overall. And at least they're pushing Otis. I mean, I guess there's some direction with him, but not the push that I would like to see from him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. Otis was way over with the crowd before the pandemic. The thing with him and Mandy was working.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't have been any more over. So all of a sudden, let's make him bad, and put him in a boring story with Chad Gable. And it's a shame. Chad Gable's a great, wrestler in the ring, and he's involved with this crap. And, whoever thinks this is entertaining, it's sad. And to see Cesaro push so far down after putting on phenomenal matches with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, it's just sad. And speaking of sad, let's move on to Baron Corbin. Boy, did I set that up nice.
Nice.
Pat myself up, Barry Horowitz and myself for that. That was off the cuff. OGFigKid, you got it, man. No, who cares? Like, okay, this is like, what a great card. And you got the Otis, and now Baron Corbin. What are you doing? We don't need to see this on our weekly TV.
It's weird.
It's not needed. What do you think, Anthony?
It's a weird gimmick that they're going with, of like a person asking for help, but we're supposed to boo them. This is a very like almost controversial gimmick that they're giving Baron Corbin. But I've said it before. This is the most interesting that they've made Baron Corbin since he's been in the WWE. I mean, at least they're giving him something, I guess, but this is just not I don't know what to think of it yet. I mean, I'm sure we'll see something down the line. I don't know if you guys saw, but they already made that CorbinFund.com a real website.
I was on it minutes after.
To donate.
Yeah, I was trying to sign up for their hard tier. There's no option.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I have to see where they're going with this. There must be something for him down the line, but I don't know what to make of this yet. It's a very.
I want to know what it honestly feels like to me. He went to them and said, "Hey, what can I do that will allow me to grow my hair back?" And they came up with this idea.
Make them poor.
There you go. All right, so let's move on. So Owens comes out and he stuns him and gets him off our TV. Thank God. So that's over. We move on to the main event, a fatal 4-way with the 4 SmackDown men. We're going to be in Money in the Bank. Seth Rollins, Nakamura, Kevin Owens, and who am I missing? Owens, Nakamura,
Owens,
Rollins,
Nakamura,
and Big E.
Owens.
Sorry, Big E.
There you go.
I thought it would have been great if they just let Seth Rollins walk out when he tried to walk out. It fit the character. I thought that would have been perfect. See you Sunday. Walks out. Nothing happens. And then just the three of them battle. And he almost got his light. Can't talk. Almost got his. I think I'm having a seizure. No, I think he got his lights almost knocked out. You see, he almost hit his head on the ladder when Kevin Owens hit him with the over the top rope moonsault or whatever. Did you notice that?
I seen it.
It's
crazy.
Yeah, that could have been. And then those are fun spots to open it, but I felt like the match was too rushed. It was okay for the time they gave it, but it deserved more time because you had 4 competitors in there, 4 guys who could have put on a pretty good 4-way, unless they just didn't want to take too much away from Sunday and do too much. But then don't put this type of match on. What do you think, Anthony?
Yeah, I mean, way too rushed. We came back from commercial and there was like 5 minutes left in the show. I'm like, are we going to get to every spot? I'll take back my comment from before now that I'm putting the show in perspective. It was not better than Fyter Fest. Never mind. But I will keep the SmackDown roster.
100%. I don't disagree with that.
Who's a 30-year fan of wrestling, and he agrees with me, so got to give him a thumbs up there. But no, it was not better than Fyter Fest after remembering Otis. But as far as this match goes, 5 minutes left, and you could have given him a little bit more time. I feel like the entrances took up more time than the match itself. Although they did pack in a lot of stuff, the Kevin Owens spot was great. But it felt like a spot fest at the end of the day. I feel like you could have did a little bit more to just, really present the 4 guys that you have on the SmackDown roster who are all really good in-ring talents. It was what it was. It was a solid main event. Kind of gets me hyped up for the Money in the Bank match. But yeah, it was a decent match. I think it was really just there for the Owens spot and singing Nakamura's theme, but that was basically it for me.
Oh, you don't like Boogs, do you?
I don't. I think they brought him in just to tune out the fans a little bit, just so it's like if you hear the fans, you just tune up Boogs' guitar a little bit more. I don't know why they don't like fans singing the song. They changed the theme song. They're doing all this. Just let me sing the song, damn it! I love singing the song.
And I know you'll both agree with me, but when you watch an AEW and Jericho comes out and the fans are singing along, a Jungle Boy song comes on, that makes it friggin' more awesome than anything when you have the fan participation like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So what do you think of the main event, Mike Belcaster?
Very, 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 very rushed. I'm totally out of the loop. I thought that was Nakazawa. I didn't know it was Nakamura. I was wondering where he got the crown from. I was like, where's his baby oil at? Jokes aside, but I think it was decent. They definitely could have added 5 minutes off of. They could have totally scrapped the Otis and Cesaro thing and put more effort for your first main event back in front of a full live crowd. Wouldn't you want to really, really nail down that pay-per-view buy? And that's not sorry, Peacock subscription. There's 4 amazing competitors in the ring. They could have done so much, and right. I think maybe they held back because, like you were saying, Anthony, they're trying to build up more for Money in the Bank, right? And maybe that's what we're supposed to fall into it with and be like, okay, cool, can't wait to see this on Sunday. But I almost think that's an outdated mentality, and you almost want to give them more on your live shows that people, millions of people could see that, may not subscribe to Peacock and may not, you want to sell more subscriptions. You want to sell more, you want to put more asses in the seats. So I feel like they could have definitely went the extra mile, especially when you're mentioning it wasn't better than, Fyter Fest. Competition's supposed to bring out the best in all, and I feel like that they're a little bit better. That first match was great, but this could have been less rushed, a little more fully out, and it would have gave you more of a reason to be like, damn, I really want to see Money in the Bank. Because I feel like they all could have added just a little bit more pizzazz to it, and it's not even their fault. I know there's a million walls in front of them before they get to that spot, but with what you're kind of competing with on a Wednesday night or whatever, it doesn't need to necessarily be just AEW, but it could be Impact, whatever. I feel like as your first show back with fans, this should have been we got to nail this shit for the last show or for the last match and really go out on a big bang. I didn't feel enticed that I need to watch on Sunday, which
definitely,
it takes kind of a blow out of me because I'm trying to get back into it. Tom knows I love WWE. I've been a WWE diehard my entire life. And, this is my first kind of dipping back into the kiddie pool. But I really wish they would have left me with more. We went off the air for AEW and it was like, shit, I can't wait until next Wednesday. And this was like, I could kind of wait until Monday and see what happens.
I mean, if just think about how much better you feel coming off this show, if they don't have the Otis thing, they don't have the Baron Corbin thing, and the main event is just the last half hour. So you open up with the 6-way, you end with the fatal 4-way, and you friggin' have, you're not taken out of the show during that part. And you could
even just take out the women's match. You put it on Money in the Bank and just hype up. Give me a little bit of a story to get invested in,
Yeah.
Like looking back retrospectively, Corbin's segment looks like something they were trying to do to just the live crowd while we were on commercial break. You know what I mean? And then here comes Kevin Owens, stunner. All right, roll the cameras. We're coming back from 3, 2, 1. Kevin Owens in the ring. Music's playing already. And it was kind of like that 3 minutes, 2 minutes. It could have added another 3 minutes, 2 minutes to do something a little extra that main event.
I think they were just riding high off the hype from that first hour. Because I will admit, the first hour was very good. You had that first 100%. Half hour of everything with Edge. You bring back Finn Balor, even Liv Morgan and all that stuff. Once you dip into that second hour, it just started going down very fast. And there were, little bumps, little hills that kind of brought it back. But then it just kept going down. Main event was solid, but it was nothing to really save it. So it was just like a meh. It was a decent show. Not as good as Fyter Fest. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I forgot that everything happened at Fyter Fest.
Listen, I think it's so big of you to realize that and come out and say it because you could have just
exactly. Like I say, I keep it real. I'm keeping it real here.
So one of the things I noticed tonight, and I thoroughly love, something I've hated about WWE for years, is how lit up the crowds are. And tonight they were more dimmed out and the lights were more on the ring. And I thought that made it feel more like wrestling than entertainment, which I thought has been lacking. Like I think I've told Mike this, and I've said this over and over to people. When they had the Evolution pay-per-view with the women and the lights were just on the ring, it felt like an event. Like it felt special. When they have the lights on full blast, the whole card, and to me, it's too much for wrestling. So, and I was so glad to see that they changed that tonight. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's also comparing it to, a year of seeing a Thunderdome with bright lights in your face in the crowd. But yeah, definitely. I like more of a focus on the ring itself. That was a good comparison to Evolution. It had just a different vibe to it overall. What did you guys think of the stage? There's a lot of criticism about it, but
you know what I loved about the stage? I love that it's HD now because I can't tell you how many times I watched it and I hated how it wasn't an HD stage. I love that it's not too busy. It's just one big screen. It's sharp, but it doesn't take away too much.
Yeah,
it's just.
I'm hit or miss with it. I feel like if it's a stage, like any theater, kid or any kid or anybody that's ever done anything like entertainment wise, like a stage means it's elevated. Like you have to walk down. Like the fans should be looking up to you.
Right.
That's just a performance mark kind of.
It was kind of like hard to watch at times for entrances. Like Rey Mysterio was coming out. I was like, I can't even see these guys because the screen is so huge. I'm focusing on Rey Mysterio's eyes on the screen, and I don't know. I'm gonna have to get used to it. I don't like that it's probably gonna be the same thing for Raw. It reminds me of the WrestleMania 35, that it was just the huge screen in New York and everyone was like, what is this? This isn't WrestleMania. So maybe they can bring out some props to spice it up a little bit. But right now, yeah, like you said, Mike, I'm hit or miss on it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So the other thing was weird is like they kept showing like fake fans on the screen. And like it was taking me away from I was like, why if you finally have people in the arena, like put the fans over for what? It's like don't put that in the graphics on the thing. And the other thing that really throws me off is those 3D graphics when they're coming out. Like I've told Tom before, like there's a VR program and you can watch WWE in VR. And like that's really cool when you have a virtual reality headset on and you're like, whoa, Roman Reigns' logo is like in my face. But like when you're watching it in like 2 dimensions and it's just there, it's so like, it's distracting for me. Like I forgot if it was Cesaro or Seth Rollins coming out, but they had a lot of green coming at them when they were coming out. And I was like, this is way too much. Like it just takes away from the actual product. You know what I mean? Like it overproduced. And I'll say that a million times, but please go ahead.
No, I agree. Like I said, the whole lighting thing was a big thing of being overproduced to me. I hated it. I said I didn't mind the stage as much, but like I posted somewhere tonight when the show was on, give me good wrestling and stories. I don't care about the stage in the end. If you give me good wrestling and stories and shit, that's all I care about. I don't need all the AR stuff and all this other crap. Give me stories that I like. Don't give me a guy crying that he's broke. Don't give me don't give me Otis and Gable, and it just doesn't make sense. If he was, they kind of seem goofy. If maybe Gable and Otis were a little meaner and seemed like legit bad guys, it would work better.
I feel like they need someone else. And if they're calling it an Alpha Academy, they need someone else to join. Shelton Benjamin. Who else? They need someone else in this Alpha Academy if you want me to take it seriously.
But overall, it was a good show. So let's do our usual. Let's give it the ratings on a 1 to 5 star. Anthony, you go first.
Oh man, the first hour, if they maintained it, I would have given it like a 4, high 4. But I'll go with a 3. I'll go to 3 because the first hour was very good. Main event was okay. Rest of it was just dog. So I'll give it a 3 for a pretty good starter. And I'll give Fyter Fest a 5 so that everyone is happy.
All right, Mike, what are you giving it?
3 was a good number. It's dead center. You can't really mix and match. I'll give it a 2.5. I think it was good. It could have been better. There are lots of room to improve. No judgment though, because it's their first time back with a live audience. You got a lot of shit to go through. You tore down the Thunderdome less than like a week ago. Like so, you got to. I will give them one really really big thing. There was not nearly as many camera cuts as I've seen in the last year and a half with
that's
WWE.
An excellent point. I didn't even notice it. But you're right.
And True. It wasn't like overwhelmed. Like you weren't getting sick watching, Roman here. Like so, that was very refreshing. I think that this is just a step in the right direction. I hope they continue to improve. Hopefully, next time we do this, it will be a 3 on my end. It'll be a 3.5 on Anthony's end. I want nothing more for these guys to succeed because we all love wrestling, right? So here's cheers to hoping that it works out for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you just said. I'm going to actually give it a little higher. I'm going 3.5 stars because the energy was lit with the crowd. I felt like they did change some things. They were starting off with a match, a banger of a match to start off with. I feel like, like you said, the camera work. Now that you say it, I realize, like they used to make you dizzy and want to be sick. Like they'd have like somebody punching someone and it'd be zooming in and out. And it's like, what the hell is this? I don't know if that was just a Thunderdome thing. And now they're going to go back to having better camera. Like they were trying to distract from the Thunderdome. But it was much smoother watching it tonight. And that's a welcome thing because it was really nauseating to, it was just getting worse and worse. And I don't like all the quick cuts. Just for that, it got the extra half a star from me. Good point. I'm glad you brought that up, Mike.
I feel like they took a deep breath, something Edge needed to do after his match. They really took a deep breath and said, all right, we're gonna do this. Maybe it's just these little things that are just building up that are gonna be good. But like that's a fucking step in the right direction for me.
Oh, we got Tyson Trevino giving out his stars. He's giving a 4 because the fans are back. And again, having fans back, seeing them respond to moves, and
I'll give the fans a 4.8. They deserved it.
The fans were amazing. They were. It was great to see the fans back.
Just like when AEW brought their fans back, it was just refreshing as hell. Like no dig on how AEW did it because they had the wrestlers in the crowd, but like actual people, you. Anthony, we're all just in the crowd having a good time. And like that.
No Fuego
heartwarming.
del Sol singing Fozzy or whatever.
The Fuego out of this, right?
I think the biggest takeaway now is, we could say is maybe they're listening. Maybe they've heard what the fans have been saying, because there were some subtle changes. Like you said, with the camera work, you've seen it all over the internet, people complaining about that, the booking of the show. I hope they're listening. It was an exciting show. It gives us hope for the future. I look forward to Money in the Bank. I look forward to Raw on Monday, because I have a feeling that's going to be more like a Raw after Mania, trying to build that up with the first Raw after fans back. I kind of do feel like SmackDown's become the flagship show of the WWE now. I don't think it's Raw anymore, because obviously they moved Michael Cole over, who they think is the best announcer in the world.
Right.
That's all I'll say about that. Mike, was tonight the first time you watched it with Pat McAfee?
It was the first time I've seen Pat McAfee since his little stint with Adam Cole,
which was an amazing match.
It was.
That was really good work. On like, I remember seeing the interview and I was like, shit, this is pretty cool. And like, I do love when they bore those lines like that. But yes, I didn't think he did a bad job. He's no Jim Ross cutting it on the NXT Rampage. Okay, he's just sitting here doing his thing. But I think he is a stellar addition to the commentary team. I don't even know who's doing Raw's commentary at the moment, so forgive me. But
I watched last week and I couldn't even tell you.
It's Jimmy Smith and Corey Graves and Byron Saxton.
Right.
Who the hell is Griff Garrison? I don't know who Jimmy Smith is. but yeah, Pat McAfee, high five. I think he's doing a stellar job.
He's entertaining.
He's entertaining, but he's also he won't give you a headache. He's not screaming over everything. It's not everything's hype.
He knows his stuff too. That's always a plus.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's calm when he needs to be. Like the best thing I love about wrestling is like a Harley Race promo. Harley Race never yelled. Harley Race would get really close to the microphone and he would scare the shit out of you. And like, I appreciate that kind of stuff. So kudos to Pat McAfee. I hope he hears this. He's a good job.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely helped with SmackDown. I mean, I like Corey Graves, but my biggest problem with Corey Graves, I've said it before, is he flip-flops throughout the show. One match he's the heel announcer and then he's the face announcer, and it's like you can't be both.
That's a good point.
I think he would be great if they just kept him on the heel side. Every show needs a heel announcer. That's what makes wrestling. That's the format that we were used to. You talk about not breaking formulas. That's a formula that shouldn't be broken. It makes entertaining broadcasting.
Maybe Monday things will change. We might have another announced team mix up for 2021.
I don't know if you saw Corey Graves' tweet a couple weeks back saying this is not what I meant to be doing, and there's a lot of rumors he's very unhappy there right now. So you never know. You never know.
We might get a Corey Graves return to wrestling. We'll see what happens with all these crazy comebacks like Edge and Christian and Daniel Bryan. Like, hey, never say never, brother, right?
Hey, listen, I've heard those rumors. There are whispers of that going around that he wants to be back in the ring, and he might have gone for the testing. And let's see. Pat, is that guy a frat party you want to have a beer with? Yes, I met Pat at Sam's Summer Sam a few years ago, and the guy was buying drinks for everyone. The guy is a fun guy. You definitely want to be with Pat if you can be.
You got to introduce me to him. I'd love to get a drink on Pat McAfee.
Yeah, so let's just say he left with quite a barbell that night. And listen, that's awesome. He loves the fans. He loves hanging out with the fans. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. Anthony, plug yourself.
Thank you very much. You can find me at the Titantron Podcast on Instagram, as well as at @the_Titantron on Twitter. I have a podcast which you can hear on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you can find your podcast, even on YouTube, where you can go give me a subscribe and some likes. It'll help me out. I have some merch at the titantronpodcast.creator-spring.com. Don't tell me how I remembered that. I couldn't tell you. I also have a new project that I'm working on, and I'm sure a lot of people have heard about it, the WPC 50, which is the Wrestling Podcaster Community Top 50 Wrestlers of All Time. Hit me up on a DM if you want to learn more about it, and you can send me your top 10 wrestlers of all time to get involved. That's about it for me. Thank you, as always, for having me on.
Mike, plug yourself. Plug
Mike
Fig
Belcaster.
Friday.
Yeah, Mike Belcaster, wherever you can find a Mike Belcaster. It's on Twitter, it's on Instagram, you name it. Fig Friday. We're doing Fig Friday. It's the first time Tom and the Turnbuckle Tavern boys are going to be hanging out talking wrestling figures. And I don't know how you cannot be excited about that, because those little plastic things make me so damn happy. So tune in Friday for that. We got some shit going on during the middle of the week. Hope you guys watch Pyramid Wrestling. Go check out those episodes. Those are fantastic.
Yes.
And anything else you could, if you just Google me, I'm sure I'll pop up in a million places. Might be at your next, run at Target. You can just go Mike Belcaster, page of Mike Belcaster. I'll come out and say hi. I'll shake hands, sign some autographs. We're all gravy, baby.
Are you dancing on TikTok? Can we look you up on TikTok? And
I got a Macho Man TikTok. It's very, very funny. It's one of the impersonation ones, and it's like, oh yeah, and I bet into a Slim Jim that's still the wrapper on it is fantastic, brother. Let me tell you that. Yeah. Oh, don't tell Elizabeth, though. She's going to get upset that I'm on there.
That's awesome. Yes, Fig Friday next week it debuts. Me, Mike Belcaster, Sneed. Follow us on YouTube if you're not already. Click the notification button so when we do go live or when we upload a new video, you get notifications. The TurnbuckleTavern.com. You can get the links to our PWT store, Instagram, Twitter. I don't remember them right now. It's late at night. Go check it out. You get all the links in one spot. Thank you guys for joining us. Until next time, we'll see you later.